There are 5 words that, when spoken with belief, have the power to bend reality itself. I have shared many truths, but this one is reserved for those who are ready. Tonight, if you will listen not with your ears only, but with the depth of your being, you will leave knowing how to command your world instead of pleading with it. I am Neville, and I do not speak of theory. I speak of law. All creation begins and ends in your imagination. You have been told to try harder, to hustle, to force outcomes with restless effort. And yet, each time you push the outer world, it resists you like stone. The paradox is simple: what you chase runs, what you assume stands still and comes. The secret I will give you was never meant for the anxious mind. It belongs to the quieted heart that dares to accept. Consciousness is the only reality. Most live as beggars at the doors of circumstance, counting facts, worshipping odds, arguing with appearances, while the key lies in their pocket, unused, unknown. I have come to place that key in your hand. Listen carefully. Your world is the mirror, not the cause. And the mirror does not smile first. You must. The world does not bow first. You assume your throne within, and the world, helpless to do otherwise, reflects it. When you grasp this, you stop arguing with facts and begin declaring states. You stop waiting for proof and begin moving as the proof. You will hear me repeat a sentence you may resist. At first, it sounds too simple, because it is. Simplicity is the hallmark of truth. The mind demands methods, rituals, and timelines. The law asks only for a present assumption felt as real. When you feel the end and rest in it, you set a chain of incidents in motion that no man can halt and no statistic can deny. So I ask you, are you willing, just for this hour, to drop the heavy armor of striving? Are you willing to stop rehearsing lack and begin wearing fulfillment? Tonight I will reveal 5 words that condense the whole teaching into a living command. 5 words that lift you out of waiting and plant you in being. They are not magic. They are alignment. They do not bribe the universe. They unveil who you are. I have seen men and women transform debt into freedom, loneliness into love, delay into sudden opportunity, not by pushing the world, but by changing the one who looks at it. The one who says, I must try, remains a servant to facts. The one who says, I am, becomes their master. The choice is always the same: to live from desire or to live from fulfillment. Stay with me. Breathe. Let the noise of the day fall away. What you are about to hear is not complicated. It is courageous. It requires only that you accept that imagination is God in action, and that you dare to speak from the end as though it were now. Again, it sounds too simple, because it is. When the moment arrives, I will give you the words. Until then, prepare your inner room. Still the senses. Quiet the doubter. For the 5 words I am about to place upon your tongue are not to be recited like a charm, but worn like a crown. And when you wear them, the mirror must answer. I was born in Barbados, far from the noise and theories of modern metaphysics. Yet, even as a boy, I sensed something that no preacher or teacher could explain: that thought itself was not passive, that imagination was not fantasy, but the very breath of creation. When I came to America, I was like most men, chasing security, chasing approval, chasing the outer world, as though it could give me what my inner world lacked. But life, in its mercy, shattered that illusion. Through a series of what others would call coincidences, I was led to the truth that changed everything. Imagination creates reality. This is not poetry. It is law. Every man is creating his world, consciously or unconsciously, through the assumptions he dares or refuses to hold. You think you are reacting to life, when in truth life is reacting to you. The images you entertain in your mind, the feelings you nurture in the silence of night, the words you whisper to yourself in secret, these are the blueprints from which the world is built. The law of assumption is simple. That which you assume as true, though denied by the senses, if persisted in, will harden into fact. You need no ritual, no altar, no permission. You need only to feel the reality of the wish fulfilled until it becomes natural to you. That feeling, that deep conviction that what you desire already is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. This is why I have said, feeling is the secret. The secret is not in the asking, but in the feeling of the answer. It is not in the longing, but in the living from the end. Living in the end means this: you must become the version of yourself who already possesses what you seek. You do not wait for the world to prove it. You prove it to yourself by assuming the state. When you walk, talk, think, and feel from that state, even for a moment, the outer world begins its obedient rearrangement. You see, consciousness is the only reality, not matter, not circumstance, not the opinions of others. Consciousness alone creates. Everything you experience is consciousness objectified, the inner world pushed out. And so when you wish to change your life, you do not wrestle with shadows, you return to the cause, your imagination. This is what the prophets meant when they spoke of faith. Faith is not hope. Faith is assumption sustained despite appearances. It is daring to believe that what you imagine already exists, and that the unseen is more real than what your eyes behold. All my teachings, from the law of assumption to feeling, is the secret to the power of awareness. Return to one truth. You are the operant power, not luck, not fate. You are the creator, not the creation. And yet, there was something I did not often say aloud. A phrase buried between my lectures, spoken only to those who were ready to hear. A code of consciousness. 5 words that condense the entire law into one living command. These words are not to be repeated as superstition, but to be worn as identity. Few noticed it when I spoke it. Fewer still practiced it. But those who did saw their lives transform in ways the world would call impossible. You have heard of "it is done." You have heard of "I am." But there is one forgotten phrase, a code hidden within all my teachings. 5 words that unlock everything. Before you go, write this in the comments below. I am ready to receive. When you declare it, you are not typing words. You are sending a signal to the universe that your heart is open, your mind is still, and your energy is aligned with what you desire. Everything begins and ends in consciousness. There is no event, no relationship, no fortune or misfortune that exists apart from it. What you call the outer world is only the shadow of an inner state, the reflection of an invisible cause. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the cause appearing as circumstance. Every desire you hold is life itself, seeking expression through you. But most people make a fatal mistake. They try to manifest from the state of wanting. Wanting says, "I do not yet have." Wanting vibrates lack. It keeps the desire forever in the distance, always tomorrow, always almost. Being, however, says, "I already am." It feels the wish fulfilled and moves as though it were fact. That single shift from wanting to being changes everything. You have heard me say before, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to become its creator. But few realized that I also hinted at a 5-word declaration that embodies this very principle. It is not a prayer of asking, but of claiming. It is not a request to the universe, but a recognition of your unity with it. Every word you speak carries vibration. Language is not mere sound. It is the bridge between your conscious and subconscious mind. The subconscious, that eternal womb of creation, does not respond to logic or effort. It responds to tone, to mood, to the feeling beneath the word. When you speak with conviction, you are impressing the infinite. This is why idle affirmations often fail. They are words without feeling, thoughts without embodiment. But when word and feeling merge, creation moves instantly. You may say a phrase 1,000 times and see nothing, and then speak it once, with awareness, with certainty, and the world will rearrange itself overnight. The 5 words I am preparing to reveal are not for repetition without understanding. They are a key, a tuning fork, to align your being with the state of fulfillment. When spoken consciously, they awaken the creative power within and command the subconscious to express the new reality without resistance. Let me show you the pattern. Every act of creation begins in the unseen. You imagine, you feel, and then you rest. The moment you rest in conviction, the seed is planted. You may not see the sprout yet, but the process has already begun beneath the soil of your awareness. The outer delay is not denial, it is gestation. Think of it this way. You do not dig up a seed to check if it grows. You nurture it by trusting that it does. So it is with your desires. When you persist in the assumption that it is already done, you water the seed with faith. When you doubt, when you speak from lack, you withhold its sunlight. You see, the words you choose are the vessels of consciousness. They are the instruments by which spirit shapes matter. Speak as one who already is, and the world echoes your tone. Speak as one who lacks, and the echo will return emptiness. The 5 words I am about to reveal are the purest form of being. They strip away the begging and striving that so many attach to prayer. They are the sound of fulfillment itself, the statement of identity that tells the subconscious, this is who I am now. Feel the difference between saying, I want love, and saying, I am love. Between, I hope to be free, and I am already free. The first is distance. The second is embodiment. Creation does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. And what you are is declared by your inner speech. So before the words are spoken, prepare yourself to feel them. Let your heart grow still. Let the noise of wanting fall silent. You are not here to ask. You are here to remember. Because when you remember who you truly are, there is nothing left to chase. The world bends quietly, obediently, around your new state of being. Soon I will give you the 5 words. Until then, dwell in the question, what would it feel like if it were already true? Be still. Let the room grow quiet. Let your breath soften. Let the mind, like a calm lake at dusk, come to rest. I will not rush this moment, because what I am about to give you is not a trick, not a phrase for curiosity, not an empty affirmation. It is a key, one meant only for those who are ready to stop begging life to change, and instead begin being the cause of life itself. Listen closely. There is a sentence I have guarded, hinted at between my lectures, hidden inside parable and prayer. It is the sound of fulfillment itself, the vibration of alreadiness, the feeling of the end made real now. When these words are spoken with conviction, felt deep within the marrow, breathed as identity, they bend the outer world to match the inner assumption. The declaration is this: I am already what I seek. Now say nothing for a moment. Let it move through you without thought, without analysis. Again, quietly in your heart, I am already what I seek. Can you feel it? The hush that follows isn't emptiness, it's presence. It is the moment creation begins. These 5 pulses carry the whole law within them. Though your eye may see more than 5 individual words, in spirit they are 5 movements upon the drum of consciousness. I am already what I seek, and silence. That final stillness is the holy seal, where feeling roots itself into form. Let me unfold them for you, not as cold explanations, but as living breaths, so you will never again speak them as mere sound. When you whisper I, you awaken pure awareness. Before any name or title, before wealth or lack, before the mask you wear in the world, there is simply being I. It is not the small self who worries over time or circumstance. It is the witness, the lamp behind the shadow, the origin of all seeing. When you say I, you turn from the image to the light itself. You remember that awareness is the only cause. Feel it, the simple fact that you are. Not I am this or I am that, just I. Let the edges of identity soften. Let every role fall away until only being remains. Then breathe into the next word. Am. This is existence in motion, being in the eternal now. In scripture, when asked for the divine name, the answer was I am. Not I was, not I will be, but I am. the everlasting present, the only time creation knows. When you speak I am, you are placing the seal of divinity upon whatever follows. You are telling your subconscious, that faithful servant, this is what we are now. Do not rush past it. Feel the warmth of presence glowing behind your ribs, a quiet flame within the chest. Whisper, I am. And notice how the very air shifts around you. Now comes already. This word alone collapses the illusion of time. It gathers tomorrow into now. It breaks the habit of waiting that keeps so many at the threshold of their desire, always almost, never arrived. When you say already, you plant the harvest in the present. You no longer bargain with conditions or dates. You claim completion. Speak it softly. Already. Feel the relief that follows, the loosening of the shoulders, the gentle drop of tension. That releases faith. Relief is how the body spells. Amen. Then breathe into what I seek. Here desire and identity become one. What you seek is not a distant treasure. It is the name of the self you choose to be. You are never chasing the object. You are becoming the consciousness that naturally holds it. If you desire love, then you are already love. If you desire freedom, then you are already free. If you desire abundance, then you are already abundance. You do not force the fruit, you assume the tree. You stop auditioning for a role and realize, I am the part itself. The world merely dresses the stage you have chosen. Close your eyes and let one single end rise, the one that matters today. Don't imagine a dozen outcomes. Choose one simple scene that implies fulfillment. A friend's warm voice saying, I knew it would happen for you. The ease of paying a bill and forgetting it ever existed. The familiar peace of a home that yesterday belonged to another, but today feels naturally yours. Name it within yourself. What I seek. Then let the words go and feel the quiet. Of course, that tells you the seed has taken root. After the declaration comes the sacred pause. In that silence, the impression sinks. You will come to love that stillness. It is the first evidence of creation at work. Do not dig up the seed to see if it grows. Let the silence be your gardener. Then gather the words once more, but this time as a single living breath. I am already what I seek, and rest. You ask me, Neville, how is this different from saying it is done? It is done is powerful. Yes, but many still speak it, as though describing an event outside themselves. They imagine a result out there and announce its completion. I am already what I seek moves deeper. It does not confirm an event, it transforms the doer. It shifts creation from the object to the identity. It says, there is no distance between seeker and sought, for I am the cause. It is done, closes a story. I am already what I seek, reveals the author. One may still leave you waiting for evidence. The other is the evidence. For when you feel yourself as the end, the subconscious accepts it as fact, and the world must follow. The moment you speak this declaration in truth, you stop listening for footsteps at the door, you realize you are already home. Now let us speak of how to use it so creation obeys. First, enter that gentle borderland between wakefulness and sleep. Recline, dim the lights, and let the body grow heavy. In my day we had no glowing screens to steal the night. We had darkness, and darkness is a friend to the imaginal act. Drowsiness loosens the hold of reason and opens the gate of the subconscious. Next, choose one end. Not 10, not 20, one. Let it be simple, vivid, and placed after the wish is fulfilled. Perhaps it is the sound of gratitude in someone's voice, a hand clasp, a letter marked, paid in full, or the familiar turn of a key in your own door. Then breathe the feeling of it. Don't chase pictures. Let the mood of completion wrap around you like a warm blanket. If a sigh of relief comes, welcome it. Relief is faith breathing. Now speak the declaration slowly, perhaps once, perhaps twice, perhaps thrice. With every repetition, let thought give way to knowing, hope give way to having. I am already what I seek. Then be silent. The seed has been planted. If sleep takes you in the middle, it is perfect. The last impression you give your faithful companion, the subconscious, is the one it conceives during rest. When you wake, do not go looking for proof as a beggar peers through a window. Refuse to harvest yesterday's field. Walk as the one who is already what was sought. Do not announce it. Simply be it. You will find odd mercies along the way. A letter, a phone call, a chance meeting, an inward nudge to turn left instead of right. These are stones on the bridge of incidents. Don't worship the stones. Keep your eyes on the destination. The bridge is not yours to build, only to cross. Feel now the weight of each word as it settles into your being. I, the spark of awareness. Am, the stamp of present existence. Already, the end made now. What I seek, the chosen nature realized. When you speak them, the body believes. The breath slows, the face softens, the heart beats in quiet agreement. The nervous system accepts the command. We have. This is not pretending. This is creation remembering itself. Do not argue with appearances. Appearances are obedient servants. They are yesterday's news, ready to fuel today's fire. Tonight, not tomorrow. Test this for yourself. When you lie down, dim the lamp. Place one hand over your chest and the other on your belly, and whisper as though confiding in a dear friend, I am already what I seek. Say no more. Smile, not to force gratitude, but because gratitude has arrived of its own accord. If tears come, let them wash the soil of the new state. Then sleep. When morning comes, move through your day as the one who already is. Pour your coffee from that identity. Speak. Walk. Breathe from that truth and watch how life rearranges itself to match your new tone. Creation never answers the question, when will it be mine? It responds only to the declaration, I am. So rise, beloved, into your own word. These 5 beats belong to you, and because they are yours, the world, your faithful mirror, must echo them. I am already what I seek. And then the holy seal of silence. Now that you have spoken the words, we must go deeper, beyond language, beyond repetition, into the living current that gives them power. The power is never in the syllables themselves. It is in the being that speaks them. A phrase without feeling is an empty shell. But when the Spirit fills it, when belief breathes through it, the words become flesh. Say it not as a wish, but as truth. You see, the average man prays from separation. He asks as though speaking to a distant power, unaware that the very act of asking declares he does not yet possess. But when you pray as the answered one, when you speak as though the thing were already true, you align yourself with the creative principle. You stop pleading and begin assuming. That is prayer in its purest form. Let us take the first movement again. When you whisper I, do not imagine the small self who lives at an address or wears a name. Feel instead the vast awareness that existed before the name was given, before the world began. I is the divine spark, the awareness that says, I am. It has no face, no color, no gender, no age. It is the silent observer, the infinite I that sees all things but is seen by none. When Moses asked the voice from the burning bush, what is your name? The answer came, I am. That is the name of the God within you. You cannot say I am and not call upon that power. Every time you speak those words, you invoke the creative presence that lives in you. Then comes the second pulse, am. Feel how it anchors you in the present moment. It is not the past, not the future, but the living now, the only place creation can occur. The word am is like a heartbeat. It reminds the subconscious that existence is not coming. It already is. When you say I am, the universe listens. It reshapes itself to mirror whatever follows those words. If you say, I am poor, you command poverty. If you say, I am free, you command freedom. It does not judge. It simply reflects. So choose carefully what you join to that divine name. Now breathe the third vibration. Already. It sounds gentle, yet it carries the thunder of creation. Already erases the illusion of waiting. It bridges time and folds the future into the present. When you truly feel that something is already done, the struggle ends. You release the question of when and how. You rest, and in that rest, the creative power begins its perfect work. To the senses, it may appear unfinished, but in consciousness, it is complete. You no longer chase the dream, you live from it. Then comes the fourth breath, what I seek. Here desire merges with being. You no longer look for love as though it were missing. You recognize that love has always been your own nature. You stop seeking abundance as if it were stored elsewhere. You realize you have been the source all along. Whatever you have longed for was never outside of you. The seeking ends when the seeker remembers who he is. Now combine them again, slowly, as though carving them into the air itself. I am already what I seek. Speak it not to convince the world, but to convince yourself. Speak it not to change outer conditions, but to reveal what was always true within you. Say it not as a wish, but as truth. When you do this, something subtle begins to move in the depths of your being. The conscious mind, with its doubts and arguments, begins to quiet. The subconscious, that faithful servant, accepts the statement as law. It does not ask how. It does not question your worthiness. It only hears, "This is who I am," and starts rearranging the outer world to prove it. You may notice the first signs in small, almost accidental ways. A sudden lightness, a stranger's kindness, a delay that leads you exactly where you needed to be. These are not coincidences. They are the echo of a new assumption. Creation is simply your inner conviction made visible. Do not think of this as a technique, but as a return. You are not learning to create. You are remembering that you already do. From the first breath you ever took, you have been declaring, I am. The difference now is that you are aware of it. You are deliberate. You have taken the name of God upon your own lips with reverence and understanding. In my own life, I saw this law act with precision and mercy. I have stood without a penny and declared, I am wealthy. I have watched debts dissolve and opportunities appear without effort. I have seen illness vanish when the sufferer accepted, I am whole. Not as a demand, but as recognition. When the feeling of fulfillment was sustained, the outer world had no choice but to obey. You must learn to pronounce these words not with your tongue alone, but with your entire being. Let them resonate in your chest. Let them hum through your bones until they cease to be something you say and become something you are. Each time you speak them, feel the truth vibrate deeper. The first time may feel like pretending, the second time like imagining. But keep speaking them in faith, and one evening, perhaps when you least expect it, you will feel the click, the inner knowing that says, it is finished. From that moment, nothing can stop the manifestation. Say it not as a wish, but as truth. The subconscious cannot distinguish between what is real and what is vividly assumed. It receives feeling as fact. When you feel rich, it accepts wealth. When you feel loved, it produces love. That is why you must not approach this law as a beggar, but as a creator. You are not asking for change. You are embodying it. Each word of the declaration is a gate. The first opens awareness. The second activates presence. The third collapses time. And the fourth unites the seeker and the sought. When these gates align, consciousness expands and life rearranges itself in perfect correspondence. Say it tonight, not in haste, but in reverence. Say it slowly, with the weight of eternity behind it. I am already what I seek. Feel the stillness that follows. That stillness is God confirming your word. And remember, the law does not respond to effort. It responds to being. You cannot chase what you already are. You can only express it. So stand quietly, breathe deeply, and know that the moment you claim your desire as now, it begins to move toward visibility. Say it not as a wish, but as truth. Close your eyes now. Let the outside world dissolve into stillness. Breathe in slowly through the nose, and as you exhale, let the breath fall away on its own. Feel the body settle deeper into the chair, the bed, the ground beneath you. There is nowhere to go, nothing to prove, nothing to chase. You are safe to be still. Breathe again, deeper this time. With every breath, the noise of the day grows fainter. The thoughts that once hurried across your mind now drift like clouds in a gentle sky. You are not the clouds, you are the sky itself. Now quietly within, say, I am already what I seek. Let the words move softly, not as sound, but as feeling. They are not to be repeated quickly, but to be experienced. Each time you say them in your mind, breathe a little slower. Let the meaning unfold in the silence between heartbeats. Imagine you are standing in your new reality. Feel the ground beneath your feet, solid, familiar. Smell the air of completion, the faint sweetness that comes when life finally says yes. You can hear it in the distance, someone speaking your name, but this time their tone has changed. It is filled with recognition, respect, joy. Picture yourself holding the evidence of what once seemed impossible. Maybe it's a letter with good news. Maybe it's a message on a phone, words that confirm what you already knew within. Maybe it's the quiet satisfaction in your chest as you realize you no longer need proof. Whatever it is, let it be real to you now. The air around you is calm. You can feel a gentle warmth spreading across your chest, as though the universe itself were exhaling through you. That warmth is the feeling of fulfillment. It's what creation feels like from the inside. Now step closer to a mirror. In this inner world, look into your own eyes. Notice the calm in them, the certainty. This is the face of one who knows. You are no longer waiting for change. You are the change. And as you look, whisper again in silence, I am already what I seek. Let the words ripple through your being. Let them reach every cell, every memory, every corner of your consciousness. You do not have to force belief. You only have to feel the truth, as though it were an old friend returning home. Now imagine the texture of this new life. If you desired abundance, feel the texture of crisp paper between your fingers, the cool metal of a key turning in the lock of your own door. Hear the laughter that rises freely, the way people look at you, no longer with pity, but with admiration. Hear yourself say, it worked. It always worked. And the sound of that voice is your own. If your desire was love, feel the warmth of another's hand in yours. Notice the scent of their hair, the rhythm of shared breath. It's not longing anymore, it's peace. It's the quiet, knowing that you are both already whole, already complete, already one. And as that feeling fills your chest, the phrase returns again, steady, unwavering. I am already what I seek. If your desire was freedom, sense the open space before you. Feel the cool air brushing against your skin as you walk wherever you choose. Notice how light your body feels, how uncluttered your mind has become. The air tastes new, the sky looks closer. There are no barriers now, only invitations. You are free, and freedom feels like breathing for the first time. Stay in that feeling. Do not chase the picture. Stay with the emotion. The picture will fade, the feeling will remain, and that is what creates. The subconscious does not speak in words, it speaks in mood. So as you linger in this quiet state, breathe the mood of completion. Let it become the background hum of your being. Every inhale says, it is done. Every exhale says, thank you. Now imagine someone dear to you approaching. They look at you and smile, the way people do when they sense a miracle. They say, you look different, lighter somehow. And you smile back, not because you're trying to explain, but because you finally understand there was never anything to get. There was only something to remember. Let this scene fade into a gentle light. Feel your heart glowing, warm and steady. This is your natural state, the state of already. You can return to it at any moment. Now take one more deep breath. As you exhale, silently repeat the truth once more. I am already what I seek. Pause. Let the silence after those words be filled with peace, gratitude, and knowing. In this stillness, you have sown the seed. It will grow without effort. Your only task now is to walk tomorrow as the one who already is. When doubt whispers, smile softly. And remember this moment. You have already crossed the bridge. Rest in that awareness. Breathe, and if you drift into sleep now, let that final thought be your lullaby. I am already what I seek. Let me share with you now what I have witnessed, not as theory, but as living proof of the law in motion. These are not tales of coincidence, but of consciousness finding its own reflection. When truth is spoken from being, the world must obey. There was once a woman in New York, a mother of two, burdened with debt that had swallowed her peace. Each night, she sat at her kitchen table, surrounded by unopened envelopes, the kind that make the heart race just to look at them. Fear had become her companion. One evening, she came across my lecture, transcribed by a friend. In it, she found those 5 words. She told me later, "Neville, I didn't even understand them at first, but they felt true." So she began. Each night before sleep, she placed her hand over her heart and whispered, "I am already what I seek," not as hope, as fact. She stopped imagining payment plans or rescue. Instead, she felt the lightness of one who owes nothing, the quiet joy of walking freely through her day. 2 weeks later, she received a letter. Not another demand, but forgiveness. A debt she thought impossible to erase had been written off entirely. Days later, a check arrived from an old client, delayed for months, now miraculously processed. It felt, she said, as though the universe had just remembered me. And in that moment, as she stood by her window, tears on her cheeks, she whispered once more, "I am already what I seek." And everything shifted. There was a man in London who had lost the woman he loved. He wrote to me saying, "Neville, I have ruined it. She no longer speaks to me. I cannot forgive myself." His world had become gray, the air thick with regret. I told him, "Do not chase what you have already declared lost. Speak the new state into being." That night he sat in silence, remembering her smile, not as something gone, but as something present. He closed his eyes and saw her walking toward him, not as stranger, but as home. He felt the warmth of reconciliation, the forgiveness unspoken yet real. And as he drifted into sleep, he breathed the words, "I am already what I seek." Days passed, then weeks. One morning, his phone rang. Her voice, soft and uncertain. "I had a dream," she told him, "where we were together again. I woke up and realized I still love you." They met that evening by the river. There were no dramatic speeches, no explanations, only the simple recognition of something already healed. As they walked together beneath the streetlights, he smiled quietly and thought to himself, "I am already what I seek." Then there was the student, a young man from Jamaica, restless and uncertain of his future. He had finished his studies, but could not find work. Each day, he sent out applications, and each day returned home defeated. He attended one of my talks in Kingston, where I spoke of the 5 words as a living law. That night, he decided to test it. He lay upon his bed and imagined himself rising early for a job he loved, ironing his shirt, adjusting his tie, greeting colleagues, feeling useful and alive. He did not plead for employment. He felt employed. He did not ask the universe to make it happen. He assumed it had already been done. Each night, before surrendering to sleep, he whispered, "I am already what I seek." Within a week, an unexpected letter arrived from a company he had applied to months before, forgotten, dismissed. They had reconsidered his application. "Your position begins Monday," it read. When he wrote to thank me, he said, "I realized the moment I stopped searching, the job began looking for me." And he ended his letter the same way he had begun his nights. "I am already what I seek." Another woman, widowed and alone, struggled with grief that clung to her like shadow. She could not imagine a life beyond loss. I told her, "Do not try to erase what has been. Instead, feel yourself as peace itself." She began a quiet ritual. Each morning she sat in her garden, sunlight filtering through the leaves, and breathed those words, "I am already what I seek." At first, they were empty. Then one day, they began to fill. She felt warmth where cold had been. She found herself humming again, smiling at strangers. Nothing in the world had changed, yet everything had. Months later she wrote to me, Neville, the love I thought I lost never left. It simply returned as life itself. And as she closed her letter, she wrote, in that moment, I whispered, I am already what I seek. And everything shifted. And so it goes, again and again. Debt dissolves, illness fades, love returns, opportunities appear. But these are not miracles. They are reflections. They are the world catching up to an assumption held faithfully within. These people did not force the world to change. They changed the cause. They stopped speaking as seekers and began speaking as finders. They learned the one secret truth. You are not manifesting something new. You are revealing what has always been yours. And in the end, every story, every life transformed, comes down to this same quiet realization. When you finally stop waiting for the evidence, when you breathe and feel it real within, the universe whispers in return, I am already what I seek, and everything shifts. Let us now speak of the science of assumption, not as modern laboratories might describe it, but as I came to know it through the living experiment of consciousness itself. You see, the mind is not divided by walls, it is divided by function. The conscious is the eye that observes, selects, and decides. The subconscious is the womb that receives and brings forth. Whatever the conscious impresses upon the subconscious with feeling, the outer world must then express as fact. This is the law. I once said, the subconscious accepts as true that which you feel to be true, not what you merely think, not what you recite 100 times without conviction, only what you feel. For feeling is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, between the idea and its embodiment. The subconscious has no sense of humor, no reasoning power of its own. It cannot distinguish between truth and illusion, between what is happening and what is vividly assumed. To it, all impressions are real. And because it is creative, it must externalize whatever it receives in faith. That is why your inner conversation is not private. It is prophecy. You live, whether you know it or not, inside the atmosphere of your assumptions. Each morning, the world faithfully arranges itself to mirror the state you occupy. If you rise in the feeling of being rejected, life will provide scenes and faces to confirm it. If you wake in the feeling of being loved, the day itself will blush to meet you. This is not poetry, it is law. Modern men, with their microscopes and wires, will someday call this neuroplasticity, or speak of a reticular system in the brain that selects from infinite stimuli only that which matches one's dominant mood. But I tell you, before ever such terms existed, I had already seen the mechanism at work. It is the same principle. Consciousness selects, and the body obeys. What you assume to be true becomes your focus, and what you focus upon expands. The senses merely gather evidence for the conviction already planted within. That is why all transformation begins not in action, but in assumption. The act of believing is the seed of every miracle. You may say, but Neville, I must see before I can believe. And I say to you, you must believe before you can see. Feeling precedes fact. It is the silent architect of your world. You feel it real first, and the outer facts rearrange themselves to match that invisible pattern. I have watched men step into wealth while their pockets were empty, simply because they refused to feel poor. I have seen women walk in radiant health while doctors shook their heads, because they felt wholeness deeper than the evidence of pain. The world bends not to effort, but to state. The state you occupy determines what is drawn to you, what is repelled, what you notice, and what you ignore. Everything that comes into your experience is simply the reflection of who you are being, not what you are doing. If you wish to change your life, you must first change your assumption about it. Do not fight the shadow on the wall, change the light that casts it. So tonight, when you close your eyes, do not say, I hope it happens. Say instead, it is already so. Let that feeling grow familiar. Let it wrap around you, like a warm garment. And as you drift towards sleep, remember the subconscious accepts as true that which you feel to be true, and because you have felt it, it must become fact. There is a sacred moment each night that most of humanity rushes through without reverence. It is the thin border between wakefulness and sleep, that tender twilight when the body loosens its grip upon the day and the mind drifts between worlds. In that stillness, the conscious and the subconscious stand face to face, and what you impress upon one, the other will faithfully bring to pass. In my time, there were no glowing screens, no constant hum of machines to keep the mind restless. When night fell, it was truly night. The lamps dimmed, the city grew quiet, and the air itself seemed to breathe slower. It is in that silence, in that sacred descent towards sleep, that creation is most alive. I have often said, drowsiness is the golden door. It is the secret entrance to your own workshop of creation. While the world believes the day is for doing and the night is for rest, the wise know that the night is when true creation begins. The conscious mind tires, grows soft, and in that softness, the gate opens. Let me show you how to use this hour rightly. When you lie upon your bed, do not carry the burdens of the day with you. Do not review the failures, the delays, the doubts. Let the body grow still. Let the breath become slow and rhythmic, as though the waves of an unseen sea were moving through you. Feel the weight of the sheets upon your body. Feel the pillow beneath your head. Let everything grow heavier, slower, quieter. Now, without strain, allow your mind to imagine one simple scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire, not the process, the result. If you wish for love, imagine the warmth of an embrace. If you wish for success, imagine the familiar sound of a friend saying, "Congratulations." If it is healing, imagine yourself walking freely, breathing easily, feeling strong. Choose one image, brief, vivid, and peaceful. See it for a few moments, then let it become more than a picture. Let it become a feeling. Ask yourself quietly, what would it feel like if this were already true? Don't answer with words. Answer with your body. Let your shoulders loosen, your heart grow light, your breath deepen. Feel the quiet joy of completion. Now, as you hover between waking and sleep, whisper inwardly, "I am already what I seek." Say it once, slowly, like a lullaby. Again, softer this time. And then let it drift into silence. Do not try to hold the image. Let it fade naturally, like mist under morning light. The feeling is enough. The subconscious has heard. It accepts feeling as fact. When sleep comes, it will carry that impression deep into the creative depths, where all reality is born. When you wake in the morning, resist the urge to check for results. The seed does not grow faster by being watched. Simply rise and walk as one who already has. The bridge of incidents will unfold of itself. Every great transformation I have seen began in that quiet moment, in the golden door of drowsiness. Those who use it consciously live lives that others call miraculous. Yet there is no miracle, only law. The night is your canvas. Sleep is the brush. Feeling is the paint. So tonight, when the lamp goes out and silence fills the room, remember this: the world you will wake into tomorrow depends on the last thought you carry into sleep. Do not take worry to bed with you. Take the end fulfilled. Take peace. Take gratitude. And as you sink into the soft darkness, breathe once more, gently, deliberately. I am already what I seek. And let the golden door close behind you. Faith is not a distant hope. It is not the trembling wish that someday, somehow, things may change. Faith is possession in advance, the inner knowing that what you have assumed is already yours. The scriptures say, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. What a beautiful mystery hidden in plain sight. Substance, not imagination in the weak sense of the word, but something tangible, something with weight. Evidence, not of what might be, but of what already is, though your eyes have not yet caught up. Faith does not wait for proof. Faith is the proof. It stands quietly while the senses cry, "It is not here," and replies, "It is finished." In my years of teaching, I saw that most people confuse faith with hope. Hope looks toward the future and says, perhaps one day. Faith looks at the same desire and says, now. Hope is longing, faith is ownership. Hope trembles, faith rests. The word already carries this secret power within it. When you say, I am already what I seek, you are not trying to convince yourself of a fantasy. You are exercising faith as the living substance of your unseen world. You are standing in the relief of completion, the quiet joy that comes only when something is settled. Think of the feeling that follows a long journey. When you finally arrive home, you are no longer striving, no longer imagining arrival. You are there. The body relaxes. The breath deepens. There is no more effort, no more reaching. Shoulder, that calm certainty. That is the vibration of already. Faith feels exactly like that. It is the body's signature of completion. You do not force this feeling. You allow it. You breathe into it as one who knows. When I lived in New York, there was a man who came to hear me speak each week. He was desperate for success, always tense, always measuring his progress. I told him, you do not need to work harder. You need to rest deeper. Faith is rest. He began a new practice. Each night, before sleep, he imagined standing on a balcony, feeling the wind on his face, the satisfaction of a man who had already arrived. He never saw the full picture of success, only the peace that comes after it. In a month, his world rearranged itself completely. He received offers he had once chased in vain. But the change did not come because he hoped. It came because he rested in already. The moment you say, I am already what I seek, the universe begins to conspire in silence. It rearranges the invisible threads of life to reflect your new identity. You will not see the process, nor should you. The seed's growth is hidden from the eye, yet it never fails. Faith is not noise. It is quiet. It does not argue with appearances. It sees beyond them. It is the calm knowing that the unseen is truer than the visible. And the mark of true faith is not excitement. It is relief. When you truly believe, you exhale. The struggle ends. You stop searching for signs. You stop asking when. The desire loses its tension because it is already fulfilled. Close your eyes for a moment and feel that relief. Let it spread through you like warmth in the winter. That sensation, that sigh that says, it's done, is the exact frequency of faith. This is why I tell you, when you pray, believe that you have already received, and you shall. Faith and already are one and the same. To live by faith is to live from the end, not toward it. So tonight, when you speak the words, I am already what I seek, do not say them as an effort to make them true. Say them as one who knows they already are. Let the shoulders fall. Let the breath flow. Let the peace of the finished work fill you. And as you rest in that feeling, you will discover the hidden power behind already. Faith is not the seed. Faith is the harvest felt now. Resistance lives only in one place, in the belief that I am not yet. It feeds on effort, on striving, on the endless search for what already belongs to you. Every time you say, it isn't here yet, you breathe life into resistance, you give energy to separation. But the moment you move into the state of already, resistance begins to dissolve like mist under the morning sun. For resistance is not a monster to be fought. It is only the echo of your old self, the memory of a state you have outgrown. When you truly enter the feeling of already, the body itself begins to change. You will notice your breath deepens, the shoulders lower, the muscles, once tight with effort, begin to loosen. Your chemistry follows your consciousness. Where there was cortisol, the chemistry of worry, there comes oxytocin and serotonin, the chemistry of peace, of trust, of connection. The body, faithful servant of the mind, says, we are safe now. We have arrived. This is why the great sign of faith is not excitement, not even joy. It is relief. Relief is the proof that you have entered the state of being. It is the exhale of the soul after years of holding its breath. When you truly know that it is done, the nervous system believes you. Your heart slows, your muscles soften, and the entire organism begins to harmonize with the state of fulfillment. Many imagine that faith is a struggle, that they must constantly push back doubt, silence, fear, and fight the old story. But that very struggle is what keeps the old story alive. The self that tries to manifest is the self that believes it still lacks. As long as you keep fighting, you keep declaring, I do not yet have, in my own life, I learned this law the hard way. When I first began to test it, I would strain with all my might to make the imaginal act feel real. I would push and repeat and will it into being, and nothing happened. It was only when I stopped, when I relaxed into the feeling that it was already done, that the world shifted effortlessly. The state of already has no resistance, because it has no tension. You do not pull the rope when you are already standing at the finish line. You do not chase what is already in your hands. You simply rest in the awareness that it is yours. Resistance is the body, remembering an older state. It is the echo of a man or woman who used to doubt, who used to strive. When it arises, and it will, do not fight it. Smile gently and remind yourself, ah, that is only my old self remembering how to suffer. Then return to the feeling of the end. Return to already. Imagine a stream flowing downhill. You do not have to push the water. You only need to stop damming it with doubt. Once you stop resisting, the stream moves naturally toward fulfillment. The law works the same way. Each time you say, I am already what I seek, you are telling the old self, your work is done. You can rest now. And in that rest, resistance dies quietly, not defeated, but dissolved by understanding. Feel it now, the soft exhale of completion, that subtle warmth that spreads through the chest when you finally stop fighting life. That is the signature of creation fulfilled. That is the chemistry of the new self taking root. So the next time you feel the old tension rise, the voice that says, but it hasn't happened yet, don't argue with it. Don't wrestle with the shadow. Simply return to the truth. I am already what I seek. And watch how the body responds. Peace will replace pressure. Ease will replace effort. And what you once chased will begin, silently and naturally, to move toward you. For resistance was never your enemy, only your memory. And when the memory fades, creation flows unhindered. There is a power so profound, so liberating, that most refuse to believe it until they live it. It is the power to rewrite the past. I have said many times that imagining creates reality. Not only the future, but also the past. For the past lives only as memory. What you remember is not fixed stone. It is clay, soft, pliable, ready to be shaped again by your present consciousness. Every sorrow, every humiliation, every so-called mistake is nothing more than a scene replayed in imagination. And if imagination created it once, it can recreate it anew. We call this practice revision. It is not denial. It is not pretending that what happened did not happen. It is the understanding that the meaning of what happened, the vibration you still carry, is yours to transform. Take a moment to think of some memory that still carries weight. Perhaps it was a loss, a betrayal, a moment when you felt small or unseen. Now close your eyes and breathe deeply. Say softly within yourself, I am already free from that moment. Feel those words. Let them move through the body like sunlight melting old ice. You are not bound to that memory. You are the consciousness that held it. And what consciousness holds, consciousness can release. In my own life, I have seen men and women rise from years of guilt or sorrow, simply by revising a single scene. There was once a woman in Los Angeles who could not forgive herself for harsh words spoken to her father before he died. Each night, the memory haunted her. I told her, do not replay that conversation as it was. Replay it as it should have been. So she began. Each night before sleep, she imagined her father smiling, taking her hands and saying, my dear, I know you love me. She heard herself reply with laughter, with peace. She felt the hug, the warmth, the forgiveness. She fell asleep in that scene again and again until it felt as real as any memory. And one morning she woke up lighter. The guilt was gone. The sorrow no longer had a voice. She was, in every sense, already free from that moment. Another man, a painter, had been humiliated by a critic whose words shattered his confidence. For years he could not touch a brush without hearing that voice. When I met him, I told him, "You are not healing from the critic. You are healing from the image of yourself that believed him." That night he sat in his studio and imagined that same critic standing before one of his new works, saying, "I was wrong. This is magnificent." He felt the flush of pride, not arrogance but calm acknowledgement. He smiled in the scene, shook the man's hand, and walked away free. Weeks later, an article appeared praising his work, written by that very same critic. But the miracle was not the article, it was the man's change of state. The world had simply followed his new assumption. Revision is not about changing history, it is about changing identity. The moment you say, "I am already free from that moment," you pull yourself out of the timeline of pain and step into the timeline of wisdom. You do not erase the event, you redeem it. You turn the wound into a doorway. I remember a young student who had failed an important examination. He came to me, heavy with shame. I told him, "Tonight, go to bed and see yourself shaking hands with your professor. Hear him say, 'Congratulations, you did wonderfully.' Feel it, believe it, and let sleep carry it." He did. Within a week, he was invited to retake the test, something that had never been allowed before. This time, he passed with ease. When he told me the story, he said, "It was as though the failure had never happened." And I smiled. For in truth, it hadn't, not in consciousness. The law does not care about time. It responds only to assumption. To the subconscious, there is no then or now. There is only what you accept as true in this instant. So when you revise, you are not wishing the past away. You are proclaiming a new truth. I am already free from that moment. Say it with gentleness, not defiance. You are not fighting the past, you are reclaiming it. Let the memory return as light, not weight. Let the emotion shift from pain to gratitude. Thank the scene for what it taught you, and then release it, knowing it no longer defines you. The past is not a prison, it is a story, and you are the author. And tonight, if you wish, you may take up the pen again. So before you sleep, find one scene that still stings. Enter it once more, but this time as the healed self. Change one gesture, one word, one look, until peace replaces pain. Then whisper softly, "I am already free from that moment." And as you drift into sleep, know this. The moment you change your inner history, the outer world must rewrite itself to match. For imagination does not only create what shall be, it redeems what has been. Your inner conversation is your life made audible. It is the ceaseless prayer you whisper beneath the noise of the world, the quiet stream of thought that shapes the form of every day. Most men and women believe they are thinking about life, when in truth they are thinking life into being. Every word you speak within yourself, every sigh, every doubt, every secret complaint is creative. Your inner speech clothes itself in the garments of fact and walks the world as circumstance. Listen closely to your own mind. What do you say when no one hears? Do you whisper, "Why hasn't it happened yet?" Do you murmur, "It's always so hard for me," or "I can't seem to get ahead"? If so, you are not describing your life. You are constructing it. The law cannot distinguish between the prayer of faith and the lament of fear. It simply fulfills the state from which the words are spoken. The secret, then, is not to silence the inner voice, for silence is impossible, but to educate it. To take hold of the inner conversation and teach it to speak from the end. Transform the question, "Why hasn't it happened?" into the gratitude, "Thank you, it already has." Do not wait for the outer world to confirm your words. It is your words that confirm the outer world. I once counseled a woman who had spent years murmuring within herself, "I am always left behind." Every new relationship repeated the same pattern. for her inner conversation was stronger than her outer effort. I told her, "You need not change men, you need to change words." So she began. Each morning, as she dressed, she said quietly to herself, "I am always chosen. I am the one they keep." At first, it felt strange, but soon it began to feel natural. And as it did, life rearranged itself. A man who had once drifted away returned not to rescue her, but to reflect her new assumption. She no longer begged for love. She was love, and love had to mirror itself. Another man I knew used to whisper constantly, "I can't get out of debt." He said it while paying bills, while walking to work, while staring at the ceiling at night. He thought it was harmless self-talk, but it was a command. I asked him to replace it with, "Money flows to me easily. I am already free." He did so not as a chant, but as a quiet knowing, a friendly conversation with himself. Within weeks, his work changed. Opportunities appeared, and the pressure that had followed him for years began to fade. The law had simply answered a new voice. Understand this deeply. Your inner speech is the workshop of the subconscious. It is there that all seeds are sown. You may decorate your house, repeat affirmations aloud, or read every book on manifestation. But if your inner dialogue still cries, "Not yet," you are planting weeds among the flowers. Begin to notice your words. When you catch the old phrases rising, "This always happens to me," or "I'm not ready yet," do not scold yourself. Simply breathe and replace them with the voice of the end. "I am already what I seek." Thank you. It's done. Everything is unfolding perfectly. Over time, this new conversation will become your native tongue. And when it does, you will see how easily the outer world bends to it, as a shadow follows form. There is a passage of scripture that says, "The Word became flesh." It does not say, "The Word was shouted to heaven." It says, "The Word became flesh." Every word you speak within yourself takes on body. It materializes as event, as condition, as experience. So guard your words as you would guard your treasure. Let the inner voice become your dearest companion, not your accuser, but your ally. When doubt whispers, answer with certainty. "Thank you, it already has." When fear says, "What if I fail?" answer, "I am already safe, already guided, already fulfilled." And soon you will discover that your entire world, people, places, opportunities, begins to echo your new tone. For the world is but your inner conversation made visible. So tonight, as you lie in bed, listen, not to the noises outside, but to the whisper within. If it is heavy with complaint, lift it gently. If it trembles with fear, soothe it with truth. And let your final words before sleep be a prayer of fulfillment. "Thank you, Father. I am already what I seek." Then let silence seal it. And as surely as dawn follows night, those words, your words, will become flesh. Time, that strange servant we so often mistake for a master. Men chase it, fear it, measure it, as though it were something outside themselves. But time is not a chain pulling you forward. It is a mirror reflecting the motion of your own mind. There is in truth no future and no past. There is only now. Creation is finished. All things already exist. Every possibility, every version of yourself, every outcome. You are not moving toward your desire. Your desire is waiting for you in another room of the same house. When you shift states, you simply open a new door. You see, the mind, when unawakened, walks through this house, as though it were a long, narrow hallway. It believes each room lies far ahead, and so it spends its life running, searching, longing. But when you awaken to imagination, you discover there are no distances at all. Each state is beside you. Now here. You do not travel through time, you select in consciousness. When you say already, you collapse the false bridge between now and later. You step out of the hallway and into the room where your desire is already alive. This is the meaning of the eternal now. It is not a poetic phrase, it is the geography of creation. The linear mind says, "First I must do this, and then that." and perhaps one day I shall arrive. But imagination whispers, you are there now. Every state exists eternally. You do not become successful. You awaken to the version of yourself who already is. You do not become loved. You assume the self who is already loved. And once that assumption feels natural, the so-called future rearranges itself to match. When I first grasped this law, it startled me. I had lived, like so many, in the tyranny of someday. Someday I will have. Someday I will be. Someday it will happen. But someday never came, until I ceased to chase and began to dwell. I learned to rest in the end, to feel the result as now, and the entire sequence of events assembled itself without strain. To live in the eternal now is to live in God's time, which is no time at all. It is to understand that creation does not unfold, it simply reveals itself according to your state of consciousness. When you step into the state of already, you draw the curtain aside, and the scene appears complete. Imagine the world as a vast gramophone record. All songs, all notes, already etched into its surface. You are the needle, moving from one groove to another by assumption. The music you hear is not being composed as you listen. It is being revealed as you align with it. Likewise, your desire is not being built. It is being played the moment you tune your consciousness to its frequency. This is why I tell you, stop trying to make things happen. Stop waiting for the right day, the right hour, the right sign. The only right moment is now, for now is eternal. All creation, every miracle, every fulfillment, breathes here. When you say, I am already what I seek, you have stepped outside of time. You have entered the timeless presence of being, where all things are finished. It is from this stillness that the moving world takes its cue. You will notice, as you live from this awareness, that the sense of hurry fades, impatience dissolves, the body relaxes. You stop running after your dream and realize your dream was never running away. It has been here, quietly waiting for you to open the door of now. So remember this truth: time is the canvas, but consciousness is the painter. And when the painter says already, the picture is complete. Rest in the eternal now. The rest of the world will catch up, for it has no choice but to echo the state you dwell in. There is a vast difference between thinking and feeling, and until this is understood, man will continue to wonder why his prayers go unanswered. Thinking is the surface ripple. Feeling is the deep current that moves the sea. You may think 1,000 thoughts in a day. I am wealthy. I am loved. I am successful. But if, beneath those words, you feel poor, lonely, or uncertain, it is the feeling that will bear fruit. The subconscious, which is the womb of creation, does not respond to the chatter of the intellect. It listens only to the tone, the vibration, the emotional truth behind the words. If you repeat, I am abundant, with a tremor of fear in your chest, you are still declaring lack. If you whisper, I am loved, while doubting your worth, you are still proclaiming separation. Feeling is the secret, not the passing emotion of excitement, but the deep inner knowing, the quiet assurance that what you desire is already yours. It is that settled confidence, that peace which says, I need not reach for it, for I am it. You must feel the wish fulfilled, not merely think about it. Thinking is like writing words on water. The moment you stop, they vanish. But feeling engraves the truth upon the heart, and the heart is where creation begins. Let me show you how to bridge the distance between thought and feeling. Close your eyes for a moment and think of a desire, something simple yet meaningful. Perhaps the sense of financial freedom, or a body filled with health and ease. Now, instead of describing it, enter it. Imagine it is already true. Do not see it as a picture far away. Be there. How does your body feel in this reality? Is your breath slower? Are your shoulders lighter? Do you walk differently? Speak differently? Rest differently? Do you feel the quiet satisfaction of someone who has nothing left to fix? Stay there. Let your thought, I am wealthy, sink from the mind into the chest until it warms you from within. That warmth, that subtle, unspoken relief, is feeling. It is the only prayer that creation understands. A man once told me he had been affirming for months, "I am prosperous," but nothing changed. I asked him, "When you say those words, what do you feel?" He paused, then said, "I feel desperate." I smiled and said, "Then you are not declaring prosperity, you are affirming desperation." That evening, I told him to stop repeating words and begin to feel what prosperity would mean. He sat quietly, imagined the ease of paying his rent without thought, the pleasure of giving freely, the calm of having enough. He said that, for the first time, he felt peace. Within weeks, new opportunities appeared, unplanned and effortless. The change had not been in circumstance, it was in vibration. Feeling is the magnetism that draws reality into form. Thought is the spark, but feeling is the flame. A spark without flame dies quickly, but a steady fire gives warmth and light to all it touches. If you wish to manifest love, feel love, not towards someone else, but as yourself. If you wish to manifest health, feel vitality moving in your body even before the evidence appears. If you wish for wealth, feel the satisfaction of already being provided for, the gentle gratitude of enough. The mind will always ask, "But how can I feel it if I don't see it yet?" And I say, you see it because you feel it, not the other way around. This is the reversal that few ever make. They wait for proof to feel, when in truth, feeling is the proof. So tonight, when you lie down to sleep, choose one desire, breathe in deeply, let the body grow still, and whisper not to the mind, but to the heart, "I am already what I seek." And as you breathe, let the words dissolve until only the feeling remains, the quiet, satisfied, knowing that it is done. For it is not the thought that moves mountains, it is the feeling behind the thought, steady, silent, and sure. Be still a moment and listen. You are not waiting for your dreams, they are waiting for you. They have been ready since the beginning, standing quietly behind the veil of your doubt, waiting for you to remember who you are. All that you have heard tonight, all that you have felt, points to one truth. Your imagination is the creative power of God within you. Your words are the bridge between the unseen and the seen. Each phrase you speak with conviction reshapes the invisible substance of reality. And when you join those words with feeling, deep, calm, unwavering feeling, creation bows. You are not here to chase, to strive, or to prove yourself worthy. You are here to remember that creation is finished, that everything you could ever desire already exists within the infinite house of consciousness, and that when you say, "I am already what I seek," you are not wishing for the future. You are stepping into the eternal now. From this day forward, practice not as effort, but as remembrance. Each night, before sleep, close your eyes and let the body grow still. Whisper softly, not to the sky, but to your own heart, "I am already what I seek." Feel it as truth. Fall asleep in that knowing, as one who no longer waits, but simply is. In time, you will see your world transform in ways so gentle, so natural, that you may almost forget you once desired them. But you will know, you will feel, that it was your state, your assumption, your inner word that gave them life. So now, as we draw this journey to its close, I invite you to leave your mark below. Write in the comments what has manifested for you. Declare it publicly, not as a plea, but as gratitude. I am ready to receive, and share this message so that others may awaken to who they truly are, creators disguised as seekers. If this message has touched you, if something within you has stirred or awakened, I ask you to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Not for numbers or applause, but as a conscious act of alignment, a way of saying to life itself, "Yes, I choose to remember." Each click, each share, becomes another ripple of awareness reaching someone who needs to hear this truth. For tonight you have remembered the ancient secret that has echoed through all ages. You have remembered that imagination creates reality, that assumption hardens into fact, and that the door to every dream is opened, not by time or toil, but by awareness itself. So let this be your seal. Remember these 5 words, and remember who you are. I am already what I seek. Go now, not as the one who hopes, but as the one who is. And may every corner of your world echo back your new name, fulfillment.